All right, so first thing I'm actually going to do in this video is cough. And after I cough a few more times, then I'll start talking about kind of going over some of the scans I do each week to show you what I look at and where I'm searching for these setups. I think that might be kind of interesting. I haven't really focused on it too much. I hit on different parts of the process, but I'll try to take you through the process for me. And, and again, I'll be all over the place here. But the first thing, always looking at the overall market. And with the SPX being our main go-to index, we see that this market has pulled back here. So it's obvious that we've got a pullback. Now, there's two sides of the coin there. The market going to continue to pull back, or are we going to start to push back higher? That's the million-dollar question. So, you have your arguments on both sides. A lot of people just saying it is time for a rest. I like this hourly time frame. This hourly time frame gave us a little flush here. Going into, I guess, 2 to 3, and then 3 to 4, we actually got a nice follow-through. The 60-minute divergence continues to be exactly that, a running divergence, and something that you don't normally see that often. It's where you have a series of higher lows on the stochastics and a series of lower lows on the price. So that is, I feel that has played its part, the divergence here. And you don't see these that often, but when I do see them, I don't normally see that big reversal happen after the third low or the third lower low, like a low, a divergence, and then a running divergence, this low right here. And then we break out and push the highs, push out of this, out of that channel. This hasn't rotated back up. The daily is big time negative. It's actually rolled over, but not putting too much into that yet, because that could turn over back up here. It can, it is doing what it's doing right now, but it's a different market right now. We don't know if this first opportunity, first decent little pullback in a long time, was going to be bought right up. So, taking that into consideration, market, there's still some great stocks out there to trade. It's just strong stocks. If you feel like this market's going to move higher, like I do, it doesn't hurt to just get into these leading stocks, leading financials, and just trade them, swing them out a bit. Not be so focused on every bump and grind. And I'm starting to plan out some positions like that. I like to do that in Verizon for myself, and there's some other ones. But so in the process now that we have this little pullback, and I'm looking at the 60-minute time frame as more of my go-to time frame. I was expecting a little pop today. We kind of did close in positive territory across the board. Not a big pop, but not a bad candle. Took out the lows, closed near the highs. I'll take that. And we're going to look for that pop tomorrow. It's going to be a hard call, but I expect to get some follow-through on this tomorrow. So now I'm looking at, I want to start my watch list, so I'm going through a process here. And one of my processes, I have a couple of formulas that I've created over the years that help me look for good divergences in the market. Then I have multiple time frame signals, and then potential divergences where we start to see the setup is approaching that could turn into a divergence. So I run those scans. Some days I'll get 0 returns. On that. This is all taken into consideration. The market is continuing to move up. We're not really focused too much on shorts, unless you're concentrating on the retail or something that you could look out in the distance and say, hey, this trend is going to continue, or some kind of crap stock that's continue to just drift lower. And I wasn't recording for the video. See that? It's not an easy job that I do here. Anyway, now I'm recording for the video, and I was just mentioning that the oil and gas sector is basically the least or the worst performing sector over the last week. And over actually looking back over the last couple months, that trend has been down, and all those stocks, most of those stocks are showing up in a lot of our scans. a lot of divergence scans, potential divergence scans, just oversold scans. And that can be dangerous sometimes, you know. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of the oil and gas trade. I do have a little Occidental Petroleum. And we have a potential, you know, potential big candle here. We had a couple of good reversal candles back in the stock. The history of the stock has shown us it couldn't perform off of these. But each one has to come when we're oversold. So you had a nice oversold level, kind of a reversal here off the lows. We took out the lows, closed towards the highs of the session, and the following day was a big, large bar candle, which was nice. Then we had an engulfing pattern back here, which we would consider a you know, a semi-reversal. And then we started to get this you know, sloppy slip sliding trade here, and it started breaking down pretty good. So we did have a reversal here. We had a couple day pop. I would say I would definitely consider this one a reversal. I would like to see this follow through tomorrow. That could also help the overall markets. This is definitely not a given follow through, you know, performance. I remember back in the day, that's what you do your scans on. You do your scans on big reversal candles with a lot of volume, and you trade it for a follow-through day, and it was cut and dry. You know, I still, you know, when I look back at a chart, I still see how reversal candles play a big part. You know, you can bring up a lot of different charts, anything, and most likely you're going to see a bottom being put in by some decent candle formation, something that could kind of give you a little clearer story what happened. All right. So you know, all these are showing up, and I'm going to go over those right now. The OXY, the XOM. Same thing. We actually have the kind of a divergence here. XOM here. Took out the lows, closed higher, piercing pattern. This one is. You know, we took out the lows. We came back into the body of the previous, over 50% into the body of the previous candle. And that's a pretty nice pattern. That's a reversal candle that we count as one of our indicators. So that's a good setup there. And the truth is, it looks like a divergence setup here. The problem is confidence in the oil trade for me. I've been burned there before, so I kind of... But, you know, and again, just to follow up on that, that was the XOM, the Oxy, the CHK. This is interesting. Chesapeake Energy Group. Nice pullback. Another piercing pattern being oversold. Just throwing them out there. Don't expect me to get in these. APA, but the research has been done. Another great piercing pattern. There was a nice little divergence back here. Look at that. You see that? Two divergences here. I just happened to see them. You know, if I bring up a chart, even though I did have a little line here, but this is exactly what you. This gives you this nice 3-day move. It's a fast, furious move. It's usually a nice move until you get that rotation. And now that the rotation happened, or at least that overbought level, that nice move from oversold to overbought, you know, then you take profits. You don't care if it's 60 cents or $6. You know, that's your guaranteed trade. Anything later than that, you could mess around with this and get chopped up. You wait for the next signal. And, you know, excuse me, we actually had this signal over here too. Look at this. We had a little divergence here. Higher high, higher low, and then it moved up until we got just tagging that. Again, hey, if you start to break down and you see a minor trend line or just a crossover, and you want to get out a dodge, it doesn't matter. You're usually going to have a profit anyway, so it's a win-win situation. All right, so again, a lot of these stocks are just lining up in this environment. HP is something I've traded before. It's kind of interesting here. Got a little trend line break, but again, another piercing pattern, holding off the lows. Possible divergence, definitely a possible divergence right here. So the HP, yeah, I could see that, but don't count on it. I hear, you know what I hear in the background behind me, outside the window here, is an owl. There's an owl hooting outside in a tree. I could hear him. Now he stopped hooting. I wanted to get him on the mic. All right, so I wanted to touch base on that. Touch base on that. I'm still very cautious on the oil and gas trade, but understand most of these stocks that are showing up in the scans are in this sector. Now let's talk about some really good setups here and some setups that we're waiting on. So let's start off here. AZO, I have it on my list here to bring it up. Lower trend line bounce. It's an HPS setup all the way, especially if you're oversold and you have a nice downward trend line. You're usually getting, even if you get a divergence on this, sometimes you get a divergence because you're making that lower low very quickly. And it almost looks like this wants to that's what's happening here. Even though it's underneath our 20 line, we are starting to turn back up. So there is starting to, and we actually have a little candle back here. I actually like this here. Sometimes putting that trend line there and watching it kind of keeps you out of a trade, thinking you're going to hit everything's going to be positive. But now, what I like to do is think of my sphere of influence. Like, I would like this stock in this area. Let's look at this at the bigger picture, the big picture here. Basically, I want to try to get it back up into this 730 area. I'd love to get it down by 700, but 715, you're starting to start thinking about maybe missing a move if it starts moving up out of this. So it looks really good for tomorrow. I think this is a nice looking setup. I want to try to follow it for you tomorrow. And actually, I'm not on the mic, but I'll be in the room. And I'll try to put a chart out on this one also. I think I'm going to get in this. Looking back at this one, you can actually look at this back. Look back here. What do you see? A sell signal, sell divergence right here. Sell running divergence. Triple top and then a big move down. Little divergence back here. Nice rip higher. I mean, perfect. Signals are starting to come in real clear. It's just a matter of waiting for them. So that's the first one. AZO. It's called a lower trend line bounce or a lower trend line stochastic bounce. And that could be found on the playbook also if you go into the forum, top part of the dashboard. AZO, definitely potential here. BLL, I remember putting this one down. I think I was just liking that pullback. It was very similar to the pullback here. And we're saying, how could you have predicted a push out of here, a gap? But you couldn't. It was a gap up. So I just wanted to show you this. It looks kind of interesting. Packaging in containers. It's not that far off the recent highs. It's just underneath the 200. It's traded under the 200 before and gotten back above it. It's just an interesting level. That's the only time I'm going to mention it right now in the research. COP, a couple other ones that we haven't mentioned in that oil and gas sector. ConocoPhillips. It looks like a perfect divergence setup here also. And again, tricky. So, COP. All right, Hess. I think I have Hess right down here next to it. Hess kind of broke down through that little trend line retracement, bounced here once, but a decent retracement or reversal candle there. And again, all these are meant to be watched going into tomorrow. These really outperform themselves and lead. That's overall good for the market too. HES. All right, so next one on the list, we went over those. HP, PRGO. Healthcare sector, drugs, Perego. You see what I'm looking at here? This used to have a decent name to it, and I remember trading this back a couple years ago or something. It was a big stock, $200 stock. It's down here at $70. It's underlying trend lines coming right into play again. It's not something I would normally take, but there is this kind of just a combination of being oversold and on a lower trend line, and you can see it there. So, $70 is probably a nice option play on this one too. So I like this one. I'm running right to the circle around this one because I like this. I think it might be worth a trade. The weekly on this, it's not the best looking thing, but you can see, I'm just looking at that lower trend line, looking for a bounce. PRGO. Next one. Jesus, what was that? Oh, did you hear that? I must have bent down and my earphones went right into the mic. Oh, that killed me. Never happened before. That never happened before. That was intense. I think I have superpowers now. All right, C. Here we go. Sealed air packaging containers. Underlying trend line. I mean, really, it's just a very nice one. If you could even adjust this, you could actually make it even better, I think. You're basically right there. Yeah, that's really nice. So you have this underlying trend line, rising trend line. You have this nice oversold stochastic level here. Very nice chart. Very nice chart. And they already got the bounce on this one. This would have been a nice one to bring you yesterday. But I'd say we're doing a pretty good job because take a look at that candlestick here off of that oversold level. And we had a nice follow through. We're right back in that same situation. Plus we had great volume like we had back here. You got to mark this one down, circle it. This got to be, this has to be paid attention to. And not a bad trade. This would be a swing trade. And then we'd use our moving averages, start off here as some targets, especially that 200 period moving average. I think you could get back up there. So I think you get 2 points on this. Look at that. Very pretty chart. Here, pretty. That's an HPS setup also. I have to chart that out for you. I'll give you that target on that chart too. At this point, I would normally pause the video and start doing up the chart, and it would kind of be boring if I just started working on the chart right now. But what we're going to look at here, and I'm going to tell you what it's going to be, so you can get an idea of what we're talking about. Entry zone anywhere here. I mean, I'd put that entry zone to $45 to 44 to 45 off of this trend line, and we're looking for a point to 2 points. A good point on this. And look at this setup, trend line and this bounce zone. It just looks like it's you could get a point on this. So that's where we're going to put that in there. You hear me whistle too? It's like sometimes I have it's like I have the way I talk sometimes gives me a little whistle. I'm wondering why all these dogs are hanging around outside the office here. I got a new one for you. So we got a couple trend line setups. The PRGO, the SEE. Check this one out. We're just going to go with the A shares right now. Royal Dutch Shell. Oil and gas, yes, A shares, but very organized and a very good divergence setup here. These ADRs, stocks that are trading here from other country are good candidates for these divergence setups. They are. You can see one back here. This was a nice one right here, and that was a nice move off of that. Even though it chopped around, it stayed within that boundary of that recent low of that divergence low, which was really right here compared to this low, to this low, the lower low. Not bad. Here we also had a little divergence here, which you probably could have, made an argument for back here in October. Dig that. So right here, it looks like we want to have this divergence happening again, and it's a nice space here. It's a nice pullback. Looks pretty decent here. We'll take a look at that weekly. Weekly's pointing down, but I wouldn't mind a kind of a little reversal candle here. See what happens. Test this out. You don't want to look at the weekly too much. It'll kind of keep you out of some good trades. All right. So that's the RDS, and you have the A shares and the B shares, both the same. Verizon VZ. I think this is great stock at this price down here. Long-term investment type of material. Right now, you had divergence. You had a nice pop. You got overbought. And now it's starting to move back down. We tried to bounce back up. We pulled back a little. We're going to try to do that one more time, or we're going to make a full rotation down. I mean, this is a slow stock. I mean, it's not like they're going to, what's the word? Over time, I can see this thing here just continue to push higher. Let's take a look at the hourly. Give it another day. I mean, I honestly think this little pullback is going to pop. And I've been seeing a lot of stocks that are poised to pop. And when we get everything concerted, one concerted effort, we get a nice bounce off with all these. The market get a nice pop. Verizon there, that's not a bad little channel line. So Verizon, I just want to make it a point of talking about that. Not set up perfectly, but something worth watching. I have Starbucks down for some reason. Why? That's the hourly. Let's take a look at the daily. Nice divergence calls on Starbucks back here. There's nothing lining up here other than seems like a lot of pain, but could be a trend line here. It's probably what we're looking at. So rising trend line, oversold stochastic. A lot of those are popping up on my screens. I mean, that's not bad. I like that type of setup. It ranks pretty high. That trend line, stochastic bounce, rising trend line or falling trend line. It's rising trend line tends to give you a little bit more strength. A higher low, the oversold stochastic. Not bad. All right, CMG. God, this one came right down to our trend line. Definitely thought we had something going up here, kind of with this reversal candle. It's kind of sunk back down. Still in it. I'm still have some shares in it, and I have some options that are expiring next week. So I need to get this back up over 420 and 430. I'd like to get them up there, but I don't know if we're going to have that. Not a bad day today. Volume's starting to pick back up. Trend line is great. I love it down here, but I'm already in it. Love the base. I think, down the road, this is back up here, 470s. Timing is everything on this one. We're back here oversold on the daily. I mean, we are oversold on the daily. See what happened last overtime? We got oversold. Yeah, we went 140 40 points. 30 points. So 30-point move would be beautiful right now. All right. So CMG, love it. Still like that trend line. Still think we're breaking a little bit higher. CMG. JCI, Johnson Controls. Guess what? Another kind of rising trend line. I was looking at this as kind of a little rising trend line. Kind of climbing back up on that trend line, trying to close back above it. You might even see a head and shoulders formation here, which is something to pay attention to. I think it came up as a divergence setup. You can actually see this sell side divergence here and a nice rotation. Buy side divergence here, a nice rotation up. Overbought, oversold. Now we're coming down. No signal yet other than that kind of slanted head and shoulders pattern. But I think I brought this one to your attention because of the possibility of a divergence. But I don't see myself getting interested in this one. I should mark it off. JBHT. I like that this one's getting oversold. I think the infrastructure package that's going to eventually come out is going to benefit these trucking stocks. So it's a nice pullback. I wanted to wait for that to get oversold. It's getting oversold now. Even though we don't have any kind of big reversals, we're not seeing that too often in this stock. Divergence over here into this downward channel worked fine. But there was no other really divergence here on the chart. Maybe right here, between this low and this low. Wow, this is a big divergence, and those are the most powerful ones. Check this out. So you have that lower low and the higher low on stochastics to the price level here. It's a big divergence. It's a bigly divergence. Beautiful move up, and then again, this is just another case of where you think the market's going. You think things are going to change. You think the optimism is going to play out. There's going to be more jobs. Then JBH2, these stocks will do well. If you feel the opposite, then, and if you do feel that, here was another divergence right there. You can spot them out, right? You see that low and the lower low and that nice rotation up. It went up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 days. I mean, not a big, crazy out of the box, but it won 4 or 5 points. And then it continued to go another couple points. So it was like, 7-point move overall off of that divergence. All we have to do is wait for the divergence. Wait for it. Let me point it out. We have a few of them. We're always searching for them, always. So I'm going to bust out an Oreo cookie for Oreo Cookie Day. Leaves your teeth all black and brown. I need something to dunk it in. All I have is Bombay Sapphire Gin and Sprite. I guess that's gonna have to do. Be right back. Yeah, so I'm liking this JB Hunt a lot here. It's doing well. I mean, it's hanging in there. It just seems to be a longer consolidation period going on. 96. It's under $100. We're just getting oversold. Remember that divergence? We talked about that. So overall, it's great. All right, let me bring up the chat room, see if anybody's in there. I find that on the other computer. Oh, Maximilian. Hey, Max. All right, I didn't know Max was in here. I would have paid more attention. Max doing his scans also. He likes to see. Oh, that's great. I appreciate you giving me some feedback. I didn't have my chat up before. I apologize. I was just kind of like getting into that mode, I wanted to do a smooth recording. I tend to go off in tangents sometimes, as I am now recording this. Do you have anything? Did you post anything, Max? Max is doing his scans also tonight. So he liked the C here. And again, I like this C also. The C is, let me get it back up here. Yeah, this underlying trend line, oversold, perfect. Yeah, it looks really nice. Pretty decent candle. Big reversal candle, just like back here. I mean, we're just going to, I'm going to tell you, it's exactly almost a similar setup. You say we get a point on this. That's circled, right? Yeah, that's circled, the PRGO. The JBHT, we're just talking about that. I want to go back there one more time. Yeah. This is going to pop into that announcement. If there is an announcement ever, I don't know how that announcement's going to come, but this will be one of those stocks that pops. Whoa. Oh my God. That's way too strong. I ruined it. Maybe if I put agave nectar in it, it'll sweeten it up. Anyway, I guess it's kind of cocktails and candlesticks right now. That's our sponsor, Cocktails and Candlesticks. So JBHT, like it a lot. It's, it's probably going to be picked for the Dream Team, the beginning of summer Dream Team. ADS, Autodesk, ADSK. Well, yeah, that's nice too. Look at that beautiful pullback. That was nice. Big underlying trend line, real steep chart, nice pullback, but a fast rotation. Look how fast that rotated back down. When they rotate down fast, and they're just next level is coming right up. Great setup. Let me see. I gotta find something to cut this, to mix this up with. Oh. Lime. Nothing. Put the lime in the coconut. I don't know what I'm going to do about this. I'll put a little agave nectar in there. See if it helps it out. All right. Headphones going back on. Please apologize me for interrupting this show. Yeah, ADSK, nice job there. Give me your other good one. Give me something else here, Maximilian. I want to go back here and take a look at the PRGO one more time. Yeah, I like this PRGO too, even though it's a downward trend. It's starting to look interesting down here. So that one, see, SEEE, PRGO, RRDS, starting to look interesting. Oh, the AZO. I think it was AZO. That's another nice one. I would put that one up there on the list. That's the one I'm actually very interested in. AZO. All right, so Max is looking at Pandora. Let's just take a little look here in the AZO one more time. Tagged it once, twice, almost 3 times. I mean, I like that we're starting to turn back up. I like that this is not that far from, highs. I like that the best. The weekly is actually setting up okay, and it's like a little weekly candle starting to build here to the upside. Daily candlestick looked good. The one back here looked good. That was actually a divergence, and well, of course, look at the move. Possible divergence happening here between February and March. I could actually throw that percentage K line in here and see if it's already made its move, because it's a faster and more volatile plotted line. So sometimes you'll see that react much faster. I'll put it in as red and see if we have. You see that crossing back up there? So it already made that crossover. I love the percentage D, the smoothing of that average. It's just cleaner for me. This becomes so choppy sometimes. I just like the smoothness and the zen quality of the percentage D line. But you can see the percentage red line here actually starting to turn back up. But I want to clear that out again so I can see my. The wasabi nectar. The agave nectar is not bad with it. Pandora. Let's take a look at Pandora. So, yeah, the ACO. Here's the Pandora. Nice candle the other day, reversing back up. Cheaper stock. Square SQ, that has some action today. There was a little news item on that. I did see that. That's actually hanging in there pretty good. So it is what it is. It's probably going to continue higher. If it hasn't pointed down at this point, the market's pretty good at weeding out crap. It's pretty good at weeding out crap. If your price, your stock is pushing at the highs of the session or highs of its all-time highs, and you have something going on. Even if people don't actively follow it, there's something here that smells good on Square. So yeah, it looks like there's an easy more upside on this than downside. Yeah, volume starting to pick back up again, and I agree with you 100% on this. And you start to hear Square. I'm just not in that circle. I mean, it is a payment processor, right? It's kind of a payment processing thing, and I don't pay too much attention to it. INCY, Insight, is that Insight Corporation, Biotech. Look at how strong that stock is. That's going higher. Great job. Very nice to get this on there as strong stocks, as a strong stock. Incredible strength there. Shop around, SHOP, Shopify. Another newer stock, right? This one is IPO 2015 in June, and pushing at the highs. So it is what it is. It's a positive stock. It's pulled back. It's holding that 20-period moving average, moving higher. Being with the winners is half the battle. Everything that Max here is pointing out has, there's a common denominator. A lot of them trade above the 20-period moving averages. Most of them are off, are testing or just off their all-time highs. They're very extremely bullish, and lots of them have the rotation playing out, the stochastic rotation playing out in their favor. We got a nice pullback, and it's very obvious. It's a very strict criteria, and that's what you need. CBRL, Cracker Barrel. See, we have the daily just getting oversold, holding off of that recent low. Pretty nice. I mean, yeah. You have volume. He's probably looking at a little volume spike, something popping back up here. Not an exciting one, but usually it's not exciting until it is exciting. So tomorrow could be exciting. Target, TGT. Yeah, getting overdue, right? Same thing with the Under Armour, UAA. Looking for a reversal on this one tomorrow. Little spinning top. Volume starting to poke back into the green area. Weekly's been oversold. The daily's been oversold. Someone should come and just buy these guys up. Drug stocks here. BMY, Bristol Myers. Beautiful wedge pattern. Starting to break out. Big divergence. This thing was just a divergence. It's Godzilla divergences. Look how easy this one. What was I on this one? Jesus, look at that pullback. Oh, I did point. I mean, we must have pointed this out. I have it written down. I have it marked off here. But it probably, we probably looked at it saying, watch for a divergence. It looks like we're going to have one, and we did. And look at the reaction from it. A thing of beauty right there. Johnson & Johnson. Let's take a look at the J&J. There's a thing of beauty there. I mean, nice little channel rotation back up. Oh, that's a weekly here, by the way. Probably showing the weekly on the other one too. Let's go back here for a second. Do the BMY, because I think I had the weekly on, which is still nice. I mean, look at this move here, Bristol Myers. Now this is the one with the EpiPen, if I'm correct. Is it the EpiPen on this one? And they had all this issue with the EpiPen. Well, BMY here, it looks nice. Back up against the 200. We got stopped the last time. Most likely you're going to run into a little problem here. So most of that trade is done. But what a divergence out of that. That was, and that, you know what? And remember, we showed that divergence. That was a weekly divergence. Now, if you think about it, we go back here. I'm like, wow, that was a weekly divergence. How often do you get to see that? A nice one, powerful weekly divergence. Now, I'm going to have to look for that then. EpiPen, Mylan. It was Mylan. M-Y. What did I say? M-Y-L. All right. Mylan. Thank you. Mylan. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of rotating back down. It's interesting to keep an eye on this. This is the news. This one. Here, we're checking out a nice little channel. Da-da-da-da-da. Bad news. Boom. You're done. Boom, back here. So that was it. So just kind of a recap. Even though Gilead looked good, we had a little kind of some negative comments out on it today. Not negative, just, kind of... just some comments out there, and the people just took it negative because they didn't have a big price target on it. It was $72, so that kind of like... still looks interesting, though, but I need it to move. Gilead, the Under Armour, I think we have a bottom being put in. I'd like to see that happen tomorrow on this. I think there's a good shot that's going to move, and I do think that Brinker EAT is going to break out to the upside of this pattern as we come off of this trend line retracement and a lot of other things here. So these are pullback setups. These are no doubt pullback setups. A little bit different than watching those strong stocks pulling back. So these are a little bit more dangerous. Not too many of them. I mean, there's a few of them that I do like. This Brinker, the UAA down here, the AZO. I like this for a bounce. Problem is, you have a little area of influence here. It could go down to 700 to 715. There's 15 points. Don't get scared of it. If you look at it, if we had an area of influence down here, we had an area of influence, in this zone, and then say you liked it, it chopped around. But eventually, it worked out really nice, because at that same point you were oversold. You have oversold level here, and then a nice bounce. Instead of trying to instead of trying to just freaking perfectly time the bottom or the best position ever. It's so hard to do that, and that sometimes keeps you out. Where if you look at the big picture here, if you're inside that area of influence, and we'll call it, we have to make a name for it or something. It's in a target zone. Let's make it something like manly, like that, or girly, whatever. I'm not going there, but yeah, it's in a target zone. Oversold, trend lines, oversold. Chop, 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 kills most people, but eventually it does move back up. So we're in a kill zone here. That's even better, kill zone. So now this is the DTR kill zone. Introducing. So look at, each one of those are set up here in this. So the AZO here, right back down off the lower trend line. I like it. I like this down here. That is on the daily. The weekly is oversold too. It just seems like it's flatlining. It's just a little scary there. And the price is a little scary. It's a big, big, big price stock here, but I would go with options on it. So definitely looking at that one. The C, Brian C, in honor of Brian. His name was C. And the weekly is pulling back, but the daily looks just oversold in a nice trend line. That looks great also. Like it a lot. We're part of that one. PRGO. Officially, lower trend line. I'm interested in this. These are really tough calls right here. This is something I like the lower trend line. I like that we gap down again. Maybe we try to retest that gap. I have to look back a little bit further. Not in this yet, but I might play with this a little. 30, 40 shares just to be in it and get a 10-point move on it. But you can see the daily here, reversal candle. The pullbacks here have always bounced on those oversold levels, most like, So we're again on the lower trend line and oversold. So I'd say we have a good shot of actually rotating back up. I don't like that gap there, but we gapped down before and actually rotated back up. So there's your daily. So mark that one down also. We did this, the C, we did the PRGO. The RDS, Royal Dutch Shell, lower trend line, divergence, all over that. Oh, I have to also update you on my Joe Coffee ETF, which had a divergence. And we broke back down. Took this divergence and we went back in on this divergence, and it made a little move, and then it pulled back down, and it's scary now. It's almost ready to kind of take out those lows. NIB. Had a little divergence, trying to hold on to that same thing. Let's take a look at Panera, PNRA. Actually, I mentioned that one. Oh, that's a nice pullback and a nice bounce off of that 20-period moving average. Classic sideways consolidation, letting the 20 catch up to it and then popping off of that. Higher low here. Strong trend. I always love Panera, and and with the Panera, I'm just thinking that business model, these newer, hipster places, the Paneras, the Chipotles, they have that they have that blueprinted way of things and making things work, and these charts are good. It's not like, but the CMG here kind of just. Put that in the same category, but it has gotten hurt over time. I think it's just a confidence thing, but I think right now we're ready to rock on this. Back up of over 420. I think this just rips higher, right into this and right up to 440. CMG. I'm circling it. One of the best bets. HP RDS. And the JBHT. We'll finish off with the JBHT. Not much coming out of this, but we are oversold again. And, like I said, this oversold going up to overbought. This is a great level right now. You get a point on this. You're going to move up to 98, no problem. You get close to, you probably get 2 points on this. Now that's the daily. Weekly here, maybe turning back over. Don't get too concerned with that. You already had 3 weekly bars down. Very rarely do you get 3 weekly bars down without getting a follow through or a bounce. And we're in the middle of this week anyway, so we're not even done with the week. But the daily is telling me, hey, watch out. I'm ready to go again. Yeah, I think CMG's going. I think you got to put more in that. I think this is a big time move. Just have to have the guts to step in front of it. When I think about these companies that come along, the Panera Bread, the CMG, there's probably other ones out there I don't even pay attention to. But you remember the Buffalo Wild Wings when that was so BWLD. There was a formula they had that worked, and I just feel like that CMG probably still has that formula. It's just being held back here somehow. But if any time we look at it, being oversold with the rising trend line, bouncing off of that, easy upside tomorrow. I like this one a lot. Probably going to end up buying more calls on this and just maybe going out a little bit further. But I like those 440 calls. 430 is fine, actually. 430, because 440 is that's where we're going. 420s, we'll see how much those are. Let's take a look. Let's go out. Well, let's just take a look for tomorrow. Let's see. If we got a 10-point move, how much are 410s? 410s are about $1.90, $2.50, $2. We'll call it $2. 410s, $2. I like that trade for tomorrow. But I want to go out a week and look at what the let's go out a little bit. Let's see here. Strikes. How many strikes we want? 5, 6, 7, 8. So we want 430s. All right. So you go out a week to March 17th. That's where mine are. The 420s are $1.50. That seems very reasonable. 420s. I think we can get there tomorrow. $420s going into next week. I like that. $1.60. Let's just go out a little bit further, or at least go out. I'm going to go out to the 30s. Hold on. $25s or 425s, May 17th. All right. They're out 4 weeks, so that's nice too. So he's out 4 weeks. So you're going out April. All right. Well, I'm liking this a lot. I think this is a moneymaker. I think this is our Moroccan meetup. Marrakesh. We're going to all meet up in Marrakesh. We're going to take this. We're going to buy 100 contracts each, 420s. We're going to go up to 420 tomorrow. We'll make $5,000 and just going to get the ticket. We're going to go hang out with the people who charm snakes. All right. Yeah, that's 400. So, let me write these down because I want to get into this. All right. What do I have to do here? So tomorrow's the 10th. So a week from now, if we're looking at the 420s, a week from now, ooh, what's going on here? Oh, that's puts. What am I doing here? Calls. $1.70. I'm liking that. I'm going to go out a little bit further. April 21st, right before my birthday. 420 is going to be $8. But the 435s, $3, $3.75. I don't want to go that far. I think we blow through this 420 zone. So 420 is something I could easily see happen very fast, possibly tomorrow. I did that, wingnut. I got yelled at just getting off my plane. I was taking a picture of the what do you call it? The script on the plane, the Arabic writing. So I was taking a picture, and the cop came up to me and said, "You can't take pictures." I said, "Oh, all right." That was in Casablanca. That's where we landed. I landed in Casablanca, and then we took a train to Marrakesh, and that was the train. It was actually like a wooden chair. It was almost inside was wooden benches. It was a lady with a chicken on her lap. It was really intense. It was the real deal. They had compartments and stuff, and it was like, I think it was like 3-hour trip or something. I had a power, some kind of candy bar, and I split it with everyone. The kids came up to me, and then we just split it up, and I became friends with everyone, on this trip. I went with this girl, and she was just a good friend of mine. We ended up going there together, and it was like, made friends with these people on the train. And when we get off the train, this guy is with us, and he's the retired. He said he was a retired police chief of Marrakesh, and then he would help us, And I was like, and he was a friendly enough guy. But you could, he was telling us, be careful, the guides here, they have to be all, the government has to now regulate all the guides. You have to be an official guide member. You can't talk to anybody else. If anybody bothers you here, you find a place. If you need a place or anything here, you let them know that, And the guy was super nice until the cops came, and they took him away for being a scam artist. And they took him away. I said, "Oh my God, this is what it's going to be like," He was like getting. We never even got to the point where, he could, like, the cops were already on him. These tourist police, these police come and make sure the tourists are not being scammed by tourist guides. But what a fantastic trip it was, In the Marrakesh, I stayed. It was beautiful, absolutely fantastic. I stayed in Marrakesh for about 3 days, and then I hired a caravan, a guide service, to take me into the Sahara Desert for a 5-day journey. So we went all the way, I ended up finding it was dirt cheap too. And this was, back in the 90s when I was trading, and it was just like, like I tell Max, I see him, Max, I said, "Max, you got to go to Morocco." And I said, I remember making some good trades, and I had no commitments or anything. I didn't have a girlfriend. I didn't really have anything going on. I was just trading. So I'd make, $10,000 in a day and stuff, and I'd book a trip that night to Morocco. I was like, I'm going to Morocco. I went to London, England, just for the hell of it. 6-hour flight. Didn't even have a place to go when I landed. And ended up, oh my God, this is one of the greatest stories ever. I don't want to get too much into my stories. You never know who's listening. I ended up going over to England. Oh, I was going over I was going to Switzerland. Switzerland. That's where I was going. I was going to Bern, and we had a was going to fly into Heathrow, and it was an overnight stay. I had no place to go. Someone invited me to come over. It was a girl I used to know, so she invited me to come over to stay with her and her girlfriend, her and her boyfriend, which is what a weird thing. And anyway. Oh, getting back to the Morocco thing, we left out of Mohammed V. It's Mohammed V or Mohammed V. It's a town right on it's like the border town of Morocco, as you go over the Atlas Mountains. So we drove over the Atlas Mountains. On the way over, I'll tell you a little bit about the experience because it was such a life-changing event for me. And then I ended up taking my wife there, and I proposed out in Morocco, in the desert, to my wife. And I took the family out there. So it was, it's a special place for me. We drove over. I went to this. I just called them up. I had no idea what to expect. Guide service. I just said I wanted to ride camels in the desert. And I said, all right, well, I'm in this office, and they're saying, well, we have this guy La Hussein. He could be your guide, and you need a cook, you need a handler of the horses and stuff, and a guide. So it was like we had 5 people. I'm paying for 5 people, and and it's per, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm at the hiring. I have a crew of 5. It's just me and this girl, and I have a crew of 5 guys driving the Land Rover into the desert. He drives ahead the whole day and sets up camp, and then you walk camels. But we had to hire camels, and I had the Bedouins come out with the camels, and they have to be with the camels. So you're hiring the people too all day. They don't just let you take the camels; they have to be with the camels. But everything was so cheap. It was like I had like 5 people. We went to the desert for like 4 days. Rented, I had a whole caravan of camels and a guide and a warrior. It was like $600 for the whole thing. It was crazy. I was like, I cannot believe this. And and it was ridiculous. It was really crazy. And the guy who was our guide ended up becoming lifelong friend with him. He was great. So I ended up going back. He got married. He was married. He was dating a Swiss girl too, and his name was La Hussein, and he was just and they live in huts, man. Experienced things I never thought I would ever experience. Walking through Marrakesh and going into the Atlas Mountains and coming into the desert and kind of staying with the Bedouins and just seeing that some of these people have never even experienced television. It was, just amazing. Everyone was very friendly. And I went over there when Bush was president. I remember it was the second time I went over there, and I went over there with my future father-in-law. And we stayed at this riad. It was beautiful. It had turtles walking around in your bedroom. There was turtles, and every morning there would be rose petals all over the place. It was intense. It was like you were living in the Garden of Eden. And they had their own cook, and it was just, it's just amazing because, and the buildings are from 1,000 years old. They're thousands of years old, so like the roads you have to walk through, the cars could fit through. There's pulling goats behind them, and you actually, in some parts of the town, you step back 1,000 years. So I ended up going to do one of the, they have one of these bathhouses there. So I said, I got to somehow ask Courtney's dad if I could, for her hand. I had to do that at one point. I said, I got to ask permission for, that's the right thing to do. I didn't know, but, that's the way I was thinking. I said, I got to ask permission or tell him what I'm up to. He's going to be my, he's going to be my wingman. He was a good guy. I like his dad, her dad a lot. Really nice guy. And so we decided to go to I think it was called the the Hammond. It was like the baths, and it was underground. It was in these caves and stuff. And you have a guy who goes with you, and he buys this loofah on the way, and he buys this stuff in the market as you're walking through. And you go into this cave, and it's like fire, and they heat the water by fire, and it's all steamy. And you disrobe, you get down to your underwear, and we're just sitting there, and we're throwing, he's scrubbing you, and he's scrubbing you. It's so weird. It's like, it's not weird for that custom, but it's weird to have someone else wash you, if you're 30-something years old. And I'm trying to figure out when am I going to ask this guy, as I said, Bill, I'm trying to figure out. And we're sitting there, on the floor, and they're washing the loofah and the crap, and they're throwing water on your head. And I'm like, hey, Bill, yeah, I just want to let you know, or something. I'm like stuttering. I was like, I'm glad you came out. It means a lot to me. I want to just tell you something. And he goes, you're gay, right? It was so funny because I'm sitting there in my underwear, and he's sitting in his underwear stuff. It was just a perfect line he came out with. I said, no. I said, far from it. I said, I want to ask your permission for Courtney's hand in marriage. Oh, he goes, oh, yeah, sure, absolutely. He's like, and then we got more water thrown on us. It was funny. So I said, all right, so I got that out of the way. So we ended up. This is the beginning of our trek. We haven't gone on our trek. We were gonna, this time we're hiking into the Rose Valley, which is in the Atlas. It's like the foothills of the Atlas Mountain, where they make rose water and rose soap, and it's these beautiful pastures of roses, and it's called the Rose Valley. And we actually took a trek into that zone for 3 days. And we had with us, of course, the guide, La Hussein. We had we had horses. Then we had a cook that made 3, and then we had what was called I don't know if they call it. I think I was calling him the warrior, but it was like an extra person. It was an extra person to protect us because we have to go through a section. We had to go through a section where we had to. It was really weird because, half the time none of these people know how to speak English except the guide, and he's trying to translate, telling me what's going on. And we're like, we're actually camping out on some person's land, and if we're going to have some kind of ceremony, we're going to have singers or a drummer from this tribe, and they could be throwing rocks at us in the middle of the night. And it was like all this stuff going on. I was like, what are you talking about? This is not happening. Oh. They brought firewood with us, and that's how far we were in. And we went to, I got to show you pictures one day. One day I have to show pictures. I was, we passed a spot where they're climbing in these caves and getting the bird nest. I was like, oh my God, look at these kids up there. They're climbing these poles. Like they're ladders, but they're 60, 70 feet up in the air, and they're up in these bird nests. I said, I didn't want to look. I said, I don't want to watch. It's gonna scar me if I see one of them fall. No nets or anything, and they're kids. CMG looks great for tomorrow. Big pop tomorrow. Don't want to get sidetracked. So April going out to 420s or $7. I want to go to March 17th, 420s, $1.70. I'm going to go with those. I want to get a little bit more time on that. March 24th, 250. Not much volume on those. 360. This all Morocco thing came to me because I met this one guy one day at Lucien's restaurant, and he was telling me he just got back from Morocco and I had to go, and he struck a chord in me. His story was amazing. Even though he got held up by knife point, he got robbed while I was there. It kind of bothered me a little. And there was a point where they tried to lure me and they tried to separate us, bring me upstairs to look at some special carpets they had and stuff, and I wasn't falling for that. Yeah, well, ours very good carpets upstairs. Please come, please come. And then they're up there and but you know what? I could just picture them pulling a knife on me. It wouldn't be a pretty sight. They come right out the side, right out the window into the alley. Second floor off the ground. Karate kick them. 435, 420, 430. All right. Well, that's it. That's going to be the watch list here. Going in the order of the CMG, and I think that's moved up to the best bet of the day on the CMG, followed by I'm going to go with the SCEE with the SEE with the rising trend line and a big reversal candle, very similar to that level. Then after that, I'm going to go with the Under Armour and Brinker. I think we're going to bounce tomorrow on these. Under Armour and then EAT. I think we get a continuation bounce off of this one. So a lot of good setups. PRG. All right. The AZO. Probably number 4. I like this one a lot too. Oversold. Perfect. That's it. All right. So I want to wrap this video up and send it out for those who might have missed it. I want to hang here with you. What time is it? 8:17. Well, maybe I won't be hanging too much longer. I'll hang until about 9 o'clock. And I'm going to do a couple more research. I actually wanted to show you some ways I do my research. So let me show you that fast before I close up this video. One thing I do like to use is the FinViz market screener map. Now this is I'm so, I've looked at visual things so much at what I'm going to do here is just show you a basic scan that I'm looking at. Now I'm going for market cap. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to go to valuation. And I think it's already set up to go to market cap. But I'm going to go to market cap, highest market cap to lowest market cap. It looks like it is already set up here. You can see that. And then from that point on, and I'm just doing that because I like big stocks. I cannot lie. I can't put that into a wrap at this point in the evening, but I tried. I really did. I like big charts, but I cannot lie to do it for me. All right, and then I just click on that, and then we can start to just visually scan some of these. And what we're noticing on this, it's just, the biggest stocks, the biggest market cap stocks, very bullish. I mean, Google here pushing at the highs, Apple right up against the highs, Microsoft, Berkshire Hathaway. I mean, these really do seem extended. You can put an underlying trend line here. These are all rise and wedges. A lot of people looking for a pullback. Yeah, Facebook, everything. But these are the stocks that you should be in. I keep on saying this market's not going to give us much of a pullback until we start to see that those phases, those market psychology phases going. We went over it last week. We talked about the market in that hope zone right now. We still have greed. We still have enthusiasm. We have so many different other stages we need to get to, and we haven't sucked in enough people to really believe this market here has overshot itself. Today is the I think the 8th anniversary, 8th birthday of the bull market. We've had bull markets last much longer than that. You know, there's a lot of good information out there. I want to bring it to the show tomorrow. I'll show you. But again, just looking at most of these stocks, except if you look at ExxonMobil, Chevron, these oil and gas stocks, the opposite. These are very sick. You know, everything else, though, looking okay. GE is interesting. There's actually an underlying trend line on GE I wanted to show you. I didn't bring that up before. I didn't write it down, but I did see it, and I said, oh, I hope I remember that. And I just saw it again. So let me take a look at the GE here. Yeah. All right, well. I see what I'm looking at. Not bad. All right, so, a lot of interesting setups for tomorrow. And finally, one more time, let's just review S&P here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 5-day pullback, really. Today we started pushing back up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Today we started pushing back up. Took out the lows. Daily here, negative on the rotation. 60-minute here, running divergence. On the third divergence, we're looking for a big pop, reversal candle looking bullish. So we have crossed indicators there. 5-minute chart, it's embedded. That's typical of a very strong move, and we're flagging out. Now, I haven't even checked the futures tonight. Let's take a look at what the futures are doing. And then we're going to call it a night. Futures not doing much. They are moving up here, though. Yes, they are. Out of sight. S&P futures up 4 1/4. 4 1/4. S&P futures up 4 1/4. Not bad. We're going to have a nice day tomorrow. All right? So don't forget, tune in. Take advantage, if you're not a member, take advantage of the free week we're doing. We have an open house, so we're doing a lot of stuff here for free and putting it out there in the public. So you might have heard this. This is going out to members also. But it's only going to last a week. So take advantage of it and check it out. Just go to DayTraderRadio.com, click on the open house, give it a swirl. We'll see you in the markets.